Good morning once again. This is Friday, and I'm just so happy to be at the table once again just to speak to you on this morning before we head into this wonderful weekend and just to share something with you. Um, you'll probably notice as I move forward in these talks, um, and again, like I'm telling you guys, I told you last time, um, we'll be having other women will be joining me um, at the table. But right now, due to the pandemic, it's just me. But I wanted to just take a few minutes this morning to send out some words of encouragement, some words of hope, and just to hopefully um, share something that you can take as a part of your life and move forward, because all of us do is share our experiences and our knowledge that we pull from our knowledge base of living each and every day. And so with that and for that, I am grateful to God, um, because he's just been so good to me, and not just me, others that I know, and just people that I have worked with, my clientele from the past work I've done. And I will see them somewhere and they'll say, "Oh, Miss Electra, guess what happened to me?" And I always talk about wording. And most of people that know me know that I'm a word person. And when I speak of word, I believe that you shouldn't say something that you can't clarify from your own point of view, because it's so important. We can read things in a dictionary, but how do we take that and apply that to our lives? That is what is important. So the other day, when I was talking about isolation, and I'm always reading. And so I was in my clinical thesaurus, because when you study psychology, you have to have a clinical thesaurus, so you can understand different behaviors that you come in contact with, because your client base, everybody comes with a personality. Everybody comes with something that they've got going on in their lives, and it's never just one thing. I remember one of my professors speaking with me after a class on one day, and I was saying, asking her, "Dr. Hall, what do you feel about today's society in which we live, that in comparison to when you first started out in psychology?" And she told me these words. She said, "You all are going to have a much larger problem, because the client base is growing, but people are coming with lots more issues. So where we may have been able to address one issue at a time, now it's so huge because the world is growing. Everybody's got an opinion. And it's just like as things move forward, the more they move forward, the more things that you have to become concerned about. And that's okay. We just have to be ready to handle that and not get exhausted about what we do. And that's why you have to love the profession of counseling, as myself, psychologists, psychiatrists, all of that, because you have to deal with people coming from diverse backgrounds, people coming with multiple issues and concerns and circumstances in their lives. And you've got to be ready to approach it with a caring attitude. One of the things that I found helpful in my career is that whenever I'm dealing with someone, working with someone one on one, I always give an assignment, because if I give you an assignment the next time that I see you and you've completed that assignment, I know that you are ready to work. I know that you are ready to make a difference in your life, not somebody else's life, in your life. We have to become priority in our own lives and take care of our own selves. And when we don't do that, we cannot help someone else. See, sometimes even myself, we look normal. We look like everything is okay. But on the inside, there's a lot of underlying issues that nobody can help you until you make that first step. So that's why I love the profession that I'm in. I love what I do. I love people. But I also want people to love themselves. On the other side of that, I too am human. So counselors need counseling as well. So we never should get to that point in our lives where we get so comfortable, where we feel like we got it all together and everybody else is messed up. It just don't work like that. It just does not. That's one of the things about the reality of life, the reality of situations and circumstances that people are experiencing on today. Again, can't help but talk about the pandemic because that's where we're at. But when someone has issues, they have to take that initial step of saying, I know that I need help. I know that I don't have all the answers to what's going on in my life, but I'm not going to let this thing that's going on right now take control of my life. So when my clients, when they would bring back whatever assignment that I've given them and it's complete, or maybe they started on it, but they just didn't finish it. One of the things that I would tell them is, I can see the seriousness of you wanting to approach this. Or on the other side of that, I don't think you're very serious about approaching what's going on in your life. You have to be the number one benefactor in your life if you're going to get to that next level in your life. So one of the words that's used in the world of psychology is inflexible. And I want to talk a little bit about inflexible on this morning, as well as that word of fear. Because if you're not flexible, that means that you're inflexible. And if you're inflexible, you're going to have so much fear come up in your life. You're not going to know which way to go. Things will get so entangled because you are you're saying, in other words, let me reverse a little bit. You're saying to yourself, I want to stay where I'm at because I want to believe what I want to believe, and I'm not going to believe or do anything different. Let's look at that word inflexible. Inflexible meaning the opposite of flexible. Inflexible, you don't want to change. You don't want change. You don't like change. You want to keep things the way that they are. I was listening to Tabitha Brown. I listened to her a lot. And she was talking in that manner that we all have something that we go through. We all deal with anxiety. We all deal with depression. We all deal with some type of personality or behavior or circumstance that can sometimes flip our lives upside down. But when you're not willing to change and do something different, how can even God help you when you've chosen to stay where you are? See, something my late husband said, and I always remember this: where you are is always trying to keep you where you are. Where you are is always trying to keep you where you are. And so being inflexible means where I am, I want to be there. It doesn't matter how the world changed. It doesn't matter what someone says to you. It doesn't matter what the same outcome that you see, your response to it. You're getting the same results because you want to be inflexible. Inflexibility is, again, used in psychology, in the world of psychology, a lot. Because when you are dealing with someone and they don't want to change, you got to even change, your body changes. Your body changes. See, I used to didn't have joint pain, but I have it now. When I was younger, I could just jump up and do what I wanted to do, and I could last into the wee hours of the night just doing things around my home, just up and studying and things like that. But as I grew older, things changed. I often, when I'm talking to my daughter, I tell her about, between time and thieves, something gonna change. Between time and thieves, something is going to change. See, you, at one point when you're young, you just get up and you just jump up. But then as you get older, you grunt when you get up because something has changed about your body. I'm always getting something for the joint pain because I have joint pain now. So I told my daughter, joint pains and other things that come into your life is like arthritis, trying to court you, trying to be your boyfriend. And you got to have what I call some CBD oil or some other kind of medications that you put on those areas of your body to run that boyfriend you don't want to court out of your life. And I use things like that to kind of bring laughter into a real situation. So in thinking about inflexibility, that's something I believe all of us can take a look at. Because sometimes we just don't want to change. We can't go with the times and what's happening right now. As Tabitha Brown was saying in one of her recordings, is that traditions sometimes have to be broken. Just because that was okay for you, it don't mean that it's okay for me. That's what the family did 50 years ago. That was the family tradition then. But younger people are coming through and they changing it up a little bit. And it don't mean that we have to get mad about it and upset about it. But we need to understand, how is it that we can take what they are doing now and what we used to do and bring it to the center and meet in the middle and find some common ground. Because we can't always be the one that's right. Because when you always want to be the one that's right, you're being inflexible. You're being a person that's saying, it's been done that way and I don't want it any other way. And if I can't be in control of it, then I don't want to be a part of it. But you got to change. An example of changing, we'll take it with automobiles. Automobiles today have progressed so much. Trucks, cars, all of that. You know why? Because the mindset changed. And then the people who created automobiles many years ago, some of them not even living anymore. They knew that it had to be changes made. They knew as time went on, cars wouldn't look the same. That's even with technology today. We didn't have cell phones. You just had a landline. But somebody stepped out of inflexible into flexible and say, we got to do something different. We got to do something to deal with the society that we're working in right now. People will get upset with you just because you don't want to do it the traditional way. We need to learn to respect flexibility and stop being so inflexible. Because when you're inflexible, you can't grow. You just keep doing the same thing and the world looks the same to you. You have to step out of the boat. As my late husband would say, you got to step out of the boat. You got to do something different. You got to work within the perimeters that you in right now. The society that we live in right now. People are looking for new ideas. People are looking for new paths. The way that I approach life, my daughter don't approach it the same way. And most of us can say that. Our grandkids, they don't approach it the same way. And as they get older and time changes, then things will be different from the way that they done it. That's just the way life is. But you have to be willing to move forward with the change. Something, again, you hear me reference my late husband a lot because he was a great teacher in my life. But look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I want you to pay attention to this because it is so true. And all of us are familiar with the word lie. L-I-E. We're all familiar with that word. But here, I'm going to define it a little more in just in detail, just briefly like he would put it. Because I asked him one time, I said, I just don't understand. It was a situation going on. What is all this lying about? Just tell the truth and keep moving. He said, sweetie, something that you need to understand. See, a lie will stretch 10 times further than the truth will any day. That's why people do it. A lie gets up and starts running and moving around and creating destruction, and truth is still trying to get up and put her shoes on. And that's why lying works so much. But a great friend of mine who has passed on for about, I want to say about 10 or 15 years, she would always tell me, justice rides a slow horse, but she gets there. So I put those two things together, and lying is real. People will lie on you. People will say things that they know are dishonest and not true about you. But you have to keep moving with the truth. Because just because you stand up for what's right don't mean that people are going to stand with you. We are in times right now where people will stand with a lie before they stand with a truth, because a lie will get up and start running. And the truth is still at home, sitting on the side of the bed trying to put her shoes on. But you got to know, it don't matter what the world says. It don't matter what somebody else says about you. If it's not true, it's not true. But you got to stand for what's right. Some people, especially when they don't want to see you grow. It's some people right now don't think I should be doing what I'm doing. But God laid this on my heart to do, so I got to do it because He's the head of my life. Like many of you, God is the head of your life. And you got to get the chatter out of your ears. It's not that what you are doing, whatever you're doing in your life, it's not that what you are doing is not a good thing. It's just that some people believe anybody else can do it or should be doing it except for you. You just not their chosen one. Why am I mentioning this morning? I had some conversations with, I've been having them with a lot of my nieces and my nephews. They'll call me on the phone or they'll say, "Hey, Electra, can I come by?" And I'm telling you, these young people have so much on their minds and on their hearts, and nobody want to listen to them. You got to listen to them too. And my thing is to always be an encourager. Speak the truth. Don't tell them a lie. Speak the truth. But respect what they believe in too. Just because, I told my grandson this, Brandon, I said, just because somebody else don't want you to do it, as long as you know that it's for your best benefit, as long as that you know it's going to take you to the next level in life, you do what you got to do and do it to your best. That's what you do. You got to build streets in your life. You got to build streets in your life. What I mean by that, for an example, you got to put things out there that if one street don't work, you can go on another avenue. As I was explaining to my grandson, you're in football, you're in basketball, you're an entrepreneur at 16 years of age. You are taking college courses along with your high school courses. You are building streets. And I'm just using him as an example, but that's what we're all doing. We build streets so that if one street runs out or it doesn't work out for you, you take another street and you build an avenue when it's all over, said and done. Just because somebody else don't want you to do it, don't mean you stop doing it. You stay on your street. You do what God tell you to do. And as long as it's not displeasing to God, you'll be all right in the process. That's what you have to understand. Because those of us who are older, we know this is the Super Bowl of life. And in that Super Bowl of life, you got to have some armor bearers around you. You got to have some blockers. You got to have some offense. You got to have some defense. It's the Super Bowl of life. It's just like getting out there on that field. People are going to try to tackle you, but you got to have some people around you that block you so you can make that touchdown. That's the Super Bowl of life. That's what all of us. Just because somebody say that you can't do it, don't mean that you can't do it. That's their thought. You pray about it. You ask God to walk with you through it, to give you strength in it, to watch over you. That's a bad habit that many people in society have. Not everybody. But there's a group of good, there's a group of bad, there's a group of just, I don't care. My goal is to destroy anything that I don't like. People I don't like. Stop feeding that out there to the world. Because you want to believe that 2 + 3 is 4, ain't nothing I can do about that. But I choose to do what's right. And I choose to believe the truth that 2 + 3 is 5. All of us as human beings, we're more than just one thing. Women and men of God are more than just women and men of God. On your job, when you go to your job, you're more than just an employee. When you're in a marriage relationship, you're more than just a husband. You're more than just a wife. We're more than just what people see us as being. And just because somebody else don't like it, don't mean that it's wrong. As long as God is leading you in it. When people choose to be, that's why when people choose to be inflexible, you got to get away from them. You got to get in your lane. You got to know what God is putting his stamp of approval on. And that's in any walk of life. You got to pour things out because all of us that's been living a little while, guess what? We got a lot in us that we can pour out. And the only reason why we don't pour things out because we're afraid of what somebody else is going to say about it or somebody else is going to feel about it. But the very people that will sit and criticize you will be the very people that won't help you anyway. Get out of this negative mindset and look at what God is trying to do through your life. That's dealing with inflexible people. I know it. My clinical thesaurus, it tells me that. My clinical thesaurus, this is it. I keep it around me a lot because I deal with people's behavior a lot. And I want to get it right. And sometimes, let's all be honest, we don't always get it right. But we need to work on it. And we need to understand just because somebody wants to spread a lie don't mean that it should stop you. Know who you are. Know who you belong to. And then not only do I keep my clinician's thesaurus by me, hey, I keep the word of God. I got different types of Bibles. They all say the same. They just come in different, the way that they wording it and breaking it down. And now when I go to my Bible says, counsel not with the ungodly. Counsel not with the ungodly. Why are so many of us counseling with the ungodly? That don't mean that you can't learn. But when you're looking for some solidity and some validity, you got to stand with what's somebody that's going to tell you the truth. Because not just what you know, it's not about just what you know. It's about wisdom. And the difference between knowledge and wisdom is that all of us have some knowledge, but all of us know something. All of us. But wisdom is where you're trying to get to. And that's on the other side of knowledge. Because now you are wise enough to apply what you know. That's where your strength comes from. It's just like stopping at a stop sign. You know you're supposed to stop at that stop sign. You know you're supposed to stop at that red light. But you also know the consequences that if you don't. Because once you run it, you know, you wise enough to know there's a possibility that I can get a ticket. Because I have not done the right thing. I ran that stop sign. I ran that red light. That's how life is. That's how life is. I always tell my grandson, you can do what you want to do when we're having deep conversations. But you got to know there's consequences to it. You can go out there and mess up in life. It's consequences to it. Because you can teach kids all you can teach them, and that's it. Because by the time they get to be 15 and 16 years old, you can taught them everything you can teach them. You've given them a foundation. Now they have to make choices. It's the same thing with us in life as adults. We get to that point, we got to make some choices. We got to make choices whether we're going to be flexible and move in life and respect the fact that life changes, or we're going to be inflexible. And we're going to stay where we are. We're going to keep doing the same thing. We're going to keep getting the same results. Because we have not come to the realization that where you are is always trying to keep you where you are. Before I get off this morning, I want to briefly talk about fear. And that's another word that's more powerful than people care to say or to believe. Fear is a huge factor today that we're dealing with. A lot of people just scared. People dying all around them. People losing loved ones. People getting sick. don't even know why they sick. And then when they find out that they are sick, they don't have what it takes for its insurance to do what they need to do. Now, here come fear. But I want to break that word down because we need to find some comfort even in fear. I spoke about my nephews earlier when they came over to my house because they want to start a business, hair cutting, but they got to get their licensing first. But they were talking about electric's kind of scary. I said, babe, that's fear. Fear will keep you where you are, and you're not trying to stay where you are. Here's my definition of fear: false evidence appearing real. Let's get that. False evidence appearing real. See, in your mind, and because of people that you're around, you think you can't do this. And it's just being calculated and estimated by what people are saying. But if you pray to God and God knows that that's what you want to do, and you wake up and you in your right frame of mind, fear got to get out the room. Once you start talking to God, fear got to get out the room. We don't always say things right. We don't always do things right, but there's always room for growth in anything that we do. Fear is real. These young kids are going off to college. I got a lot of my nieces and my nephews that's going to college. Some is going to be their first entry. Some will be their second entry into college. Some have already graduated, getting ready to work on this next degree. But let me tell you what all of them has experienced. Even my grandson, he's still in high school, but he's getting ready to take some more college coursework while he's going through his regular public schooling. You know what they all have relative to one another? Fear. I'm not just going to talk on them. I'm speaking to parents and grandparents and other loved ones who have raised these kids, who are around them, and we're all cheering them on and we're saying congratulations. I got 2 words for you. Check in. Check in on that side of them. Talk to them. Ask them how are they feeling about things. Don't just drop them off and leave them. Check back in on them. At the end of every week. I know I work in a college setting. I hear it all the time. They come in with fear. And you know what? And they're afraid to tell their loved ones that they have that fear. But guess what? If you keep checking in on them, they can rise above that. They can rise above that. You celebrate with them. You are happy for them, but you still have to let them know that you're going to have some anxiety. I understand that. Sometimes you're going to feel like you're not doing your best. I understand that. People need to know that you understand them when they're facing something. I relate it so often to the Red Sea. Everybody got some Red Seas in their life. That woman that's going through that domestic violence situation, that's a Red Sea in her life. That father that lost his job and he don't know how he's going to take care of his family, that's a Red Sea in his life. That elderly parent that's sitting in the home and don't know how they're going to purchase the medication that they need, that's a red sea in their lives. That health condition that you and I have to deal with, that's a red sea in our lives. Because it's not a cure, so you got to learn how to maintain it and manage health care. That's a red sea. These children going to college, whether they staying at home going, whether they're going off and attending college, that's still their red sea, because sometimes it feels like the water is stacked up on both sides. You ever been in a red sea? All of us in them, we just don't see it like that. Something my late husband used to say all the time to me. He said, "You're always saying how much you've learned from me. You just don't know how much I've learned from you." Age, because my husband was older than me, he said, age don't have nothing to do with wisdom. You've taught me so much. I like the way that you challenge me. And just because I say something, you don't go along with me. But when you don't go along with me, you tell me why you disagree and you define your disagreement. See, we have to tell people why I disagree with you. There's nothing wrong with that. Seeing things from a different perspective. Don't just tell it to me. Tell me why. That's what our youth are saying today. That's what they're saying. I just need somebody to talk to me. I'm sharing this with y'all because it was shared with me. And if I was at the college, because we're working remotely right now, I'd be hearing it from a whole lot more young people. But it's just that I'm hearing it from my family side, those who I'm still connected with so closely. Talk to these young people. Tell them every now and then that you love them. Check in on them. Let them know that I understand this is a challenge. This doesn't define who you are. This doesn't say that you are dumb. This doesn't say that you are smart. This just saying that you have the potential to get out there and try to do something different to make your life better. But in the process, I'm going to be there for you. We as adults, we still have what we call fear. Sometimes the fear of living alone. The fear of losing people that you love, whether it was through death or divorce or whatever. People just walking out your life. We all have fear. We all have concerns. But we cannot let that control our lives and take us to the point where we just sit down. You know why? Because you're bigger than that. You know why you're bigger than that situation? Because God is bigger than that. He's bigger than anything in our life. And you'll hear me say that all the time. And I really believe that. God is bigger than that situation. God loves you. God wants to take care of you. God don't care what those people are saying. He said, look at me. Listen to me. Pay attention to me. I love you. I see you. I'm pushing you. I'm the wind beneath your wings. And before I leave this morning, you know, it was laid on my heart by God through the Holy Spirit to speak to some women this morning. Because I don't know who you are. I don't know who this is for, but God laid it on my heart, so I'm going to share it. He brought to my remembrance when everything was going on with the protest, and we were talking about, I can't breathe. But this is not relative to that. He brought it to me from the form of women. We as women so often been saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm sitting in the church, but I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm on the job, but I can't breathe. Why I can't breathe? Because I got so much I need to do. I got so much I need to say, but it's like my mouth is being muzzled. I can't breathe. I got a troubled child, but won't nobody listen to me, and I can't breathe. I got some finances, and I got more month than I got money. I can't breathe. I got some health problems, but because I'm a woman, I'm looked at like I'm complaining. I can't breathe. Some mother is trying to go down there and see her child in prison, and people, instead of helping her, are criticizing her, and she's saying, I can't breathe. When we gonna start helping women breathe? Women years ago got out there so we could have our rights as women. And believe me, I have been a huge advocate for Violence Against Women Act. A huge advocate of that, because women needed protection then and women need protection now. I worked in domestic violence for 10 years. And you know what those women were saying? I can't breathe. I need some laws. I need some people to stand up for me because I can't breathe. I need some people to say what I can't say because I can't breathe. I got children that don't even come by and check on me. I can't breathe. God put that on my heart to say, somebody can't breathe. Whatever their situation is, whatever woman that is, she can't breathe. You got to see stuff in more than one way. It can't just be because that's what you believe, that's what it is. You got people that lost their spouses. And people were there for the funeral, and that was it. And that woman sitting in that house, and she's saying, I can't breathe. Because everybody that said they was going to be there, they are gone. She can't breathe. For whatever reason God said, say that. Put that out there. Don't just look at that thing from one angle. Women are saying, I can't breathe. Walking around with health conditions. And people say that's just a woman's thing. No, that's a world thing. That's Barbara Bush, she's been one of those people that I admire. And I've taken a lot from things that she said. And I used to love to hear her speak because she was so grounded. She was so grounded in what she would say. She meant what she said. She stood her grounds on what she said. And she fought for what she believed in. And some material that I was reading through when she had first passed away, and I read where she had said that her husband was, doing things, and he was the president, and and people were pretty much there for him, but she needed to do something. she needed to move. She needed to be a part of this world. And every woman needs that. Why God laid that on my heart to share this morning, I don't know. And how he took that thing and related it to I can't breathe. This don't have nothing to do with the previous situation. I'm speaking to women right now who are saying I can't breathe. And we're sitting amongst people and telling people we're okay when we're not. We can't breathe. I, just like you, have grandchildren. I, just like you, have a daughter. I, like some of you, are now a widow, but once had a spouse who was very tentative to me. I mean, but there were still times when everybody else think you have it so together. And you're crying out in silence saying, I can't breathe. Just because you got a lot of money and live in a large house or whatever, or driving a nice car, whatever your situation is, you still may be saying, I can't breathe. I need somebody to understand me. I need somebody to know who I am. I'm human. I'm a woman, but I'm human. And I myself was at that point in my life where I was saying, I can't breathe. But I was telling people I was okay. Thank God I had a large family. I come from 10 sisters and 3 brothers. And I'm the baby. So everybody raised me. And they were asking me, Electra, are you okay? I was telling them, oh, I'm okay. I mean, I got it. But all the while, God reminded me, you sitting over here telling people you okay and you can't even breathe. So I'm saying to every woman this morning, just like I said about your children and other loved ones, these young people going off to college or going back to school or wherever they're going. I'm saying to you this morning, check in not on them only, but check in on yourself. Do a checkup on yourself. And when you can't breathe, don't worry about the people who want to criticize you. Don't worry about the inflexible. Get fear out the way, because that's false evidence appearing real. And let somebody know. Learn how to tell somebody, I can't breathe. And then tell them why you can't breathe. Because you deserve to be heard too. You don't go unnoticed. I'm telling you this from my lips to God's ears. And he laid this on my heart, so I had to say it. You don't go unnoticed. God helped me to look into that and see there's so many women out here, and I need you to let them know they have not gone unnoticed. I see them. I know where they're located. And guess what? I'm going to get ready to sign off, but I want you to remember this. You can't lose. I'm going to set up the courtroom for you so you'll know why you can't lose. Even though you can't breathe, I'm going to tell you why you won't lose. Because God said, I'm your team. I'm the judge. God is your judge. I already appointed my son as your attorney. And then I got some angels. The angels that's there surrounding you. Ha! That's your jury. You can't lose. And believe me, I've been in and out of some courtrooms with my profession. I no longer do it now. But for 10 years, I was in and out of courtrooms as a legal advocate. Let me tell you, that's a lot of work. But I never saw it like God showed it to me. How you gonna lose, God said? How you gonna lose? I'm your judge. I'm the judge in your courtroom. I'm the judge in your life. I already appointed my son as your attorney. And then them angels that I'm dispatching day and night is the jury. How you gonna lose? You already won that case. Whatever case it is in your life, and the ones that you love, and even some people that you don't even know, tell somebody else. You can't lose. God done already set up the courtroom. You done already won the case. You just going through the process. May God bless each and every one of you. I have enjoyed reaching out this morning. It's a wonderful thing to know and to see how God can use us as women. I say women because I'm a woman, but he can use anybody he wants to. He can use a child. But God did lay that on my heart to speak specifically to women, because we wear so many hats and people just don't understand. Sometimes we just can't breathe. Learn how to love each other. Learn how to check in on one another. And learn to rise beyond this false evidence appearing real, which is fear. Y'all have a wonderful day. Love on yourself, love on somebody else, and know that God is in control. Bye-bye.